Our project is titled Stress and Working Memory, presented by Bianca Silvera, Ariana Martel, and Jojo Estrada. Our topic is on stress types, both acute stress and life stressors, and how those types of stress work together to affect our working memory. Past literature has shown that acute stress and life stressors can affect your working memory cognition separately. Other past literature has suggested that it is not stress causing working memory deficits, but mind wandering during tasks that causes working memory deficits. Our experiment seeks to fill in the gap and see if there's an interaction between both types of stress, both acute and life stress, and their effect on our working memory. Our experiment had four hypotheses. The first one being high amounts of acute stress will negatively impact working memory. The second one is high amounts of life stress will negatively impact working memory. The third hypothesis is high amounts of acute stress and life stress in combination will negatively impact working memory. And the last hypothesis is lower amounts of acute and life stress will have little to no effect on your working memory. Moving on to our method, we had 12 participants who are undergraduate students at UMass Dartmouth enrolled in psychology courses, and they participated for extra credit participation. Each participant came in, did consent forms, and were told to complete a multiplication task, split into two groups, easy or hard multiplication. After completing the multiplication task, participants then took the STAI, which measures your acute stress. After that, the NBAC 2-back task, which measures your working memory, was done. Lastly, the participants filled out the life experience survey, which seeks to measure your life stress events.
We had two independent variables that we were testing, acute stress and life stress. Acute stress was induced by giving participants a timed and competitive math task. We measured how stressed they felt using the state trait anxiety inventory. For our life stress, this was measured using the life experience scale, which asks participants about stressful events in their personal lives. For our dependent variable, what we were measuring was a working memory. This was measured through performance on the two-back task, a test of short-term memory and attention.
Visuals are presented on the poster for the easy and hard multiplication task, as well as an example of the MBAC, which asks you to indicate if the present letter matches the letter that was shown 2 letters ago. The STAI is a survey that measures the participants' acute stress, and an example of this is I feel tense. The life experience survey is a survey that measures life stressors, and an example of this is death of a family member.
For our results, we first tested if the stress condition worked using STAI anxiety scores. Interestingly, we found that the group that was not exposed to stress actually had higher anxiety scores than the group that was. This result was statistically significant, but it was not in the direction we expected. We also checked for outliers in the data and found none. Since the stress condition didn't affect anxiety as expected, we ran correlation tests to see if stress levels were related to working memory performances. We looked at how anxiety, life stress, and working memory were related. There was a negative correlation between anxiety and working memory, meaning higher anxiety was linked to lower memory scores. This was not statistically significant. There is a negative correlation of life stress and NBAC scores with significance. As life experience scores went up, NBAC scores went down. There was a positive correlation between life stress and anxiety, but this was also not significant.
For our discussion, the main findings of our study found that higher scores on the LES were negatively correlated with lower MBAC scores. This supported one of our hypotheses. One of our other main findings was that acute stress did not have significance with MBAC scores. This did not support one of our hypotheses. And an unexpected finding was that the no stress group had higher STAI scores than the induced stress group. A limitation of our study is the inconsistent scores on the MBAC task. This could suggest that participants did not understand the directions clearly and that further clarification should have been provided. We also found no significance but had large effect sizes for some of the correlations, which could potentially indicate a type 2 error. For further research, we suggest that conducting this study on different age groups could be interesting to see how and if the results vary among different ages. We also thought that analyzing the impact of mind wandering and focus on working memory could be an additional further research.
Thank you for listening and drop a like.